the Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Hi, my name is Joe, and I'm a home decor overspender.
Hi, Joe.
I made a breakthrough. I found HomeSense. It's unreal. So many brand name sofas. I bought one.
Oh, wow, really?
It's okay. The prices, so low. Lighting, unexpected. Rugs, handcrafted. Wall art, eclectic. I go back like every week. No, it's always different. New unique decor, same great savings. Every time you go.
Field trip.
HomeSense. Standout pieces, outstanding prices.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Hey, we're back. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
It's our first show of 2022, isn't it?
Yeah. Happy New Year. I know we're outside of the week threshold that Larry David has set for saying Happy New Year, but since this is our first episode of this year, I'm going to say Happy New Year to all of our listeners.
Well, I got COVID for New Year's. That's why.
Yeah, nice start to 2022.
Yeah, that was Happy New Year. Here's a fever and a cough and some chills. Cool.
What is with that? Like, the start of every year, something bad happens because something bad is happening every day somewhere to somebody, unfortunately. And, as soon as somebody notices that something bad happened at the beginning, there goes 2022. Oh, Betty White died. Oh, this year's going to suck. Dude, she was 99. You're gonna get all like weird about that.
People. Why? I was like, why are people sad? She's like 100 years old, literally. She had a nice long life.
100-year-old woman dies, and a roll of the dice places it in 2022, and now the year sucks.
I don't know. I don't know how you are, but if I hear anybody like over 85, maybe even 80, I'm like, that's a good run.
Yeah,
you beat average life expectancy.
Yeah, 85. Yeah, 80 to 85. I'm like, I'm not. It's not a tragedy.
Yeah, but you get to less than 2 decades before 100, you're like, all right, you had a good run.
Yeah.
You saw most of a century. Good for you.
Over 80, you're definitely in the zone.
Yeah.
You're placing, right?
You're on the podium.
Yeah.
You're at least taking home the bronze.
Yeah, so you got that COVID. I think I got COVID. I never tested positive for it, but everyone around me was testing positive and testing negative and getting false positives and false negatives. I really, the testing thing is kind of a mess with
Can we stop with the rapid test?
The rapid tests are bullshit.
I've gotten a half a dozen COVID tests, and I will not get the rapid tests because
they're pointless.
Well, yeah, the odds are worse than a coin flip. They have a 60% failure rate. All right, the odds on a coin flip are 50%.
And it's not even how you would think. Like, you would think, oh, maybe sometimes it doesn't detect it. No, it's giving false positives.
Yeah, or false negatives. It gave my ex-wife a false negative. She was walking around for 2 days thinking she didn't have COVID, and the second day her PCR comes back, they're like, no, you got COVID.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the false negatives you could almost understand because, just missed it. Like, there was COVID there, or maybe it just didn't register. But like a false positive, that means your test is fucking broken. Yeah. If you're registering something that is not there.
Well, no, I mean, that's what the NFL last season, this season, there's a whole different, but, last season, the year that COVID happened, that's what was happening a lot. Guys were popping positive tests, and then, they had a protocol where if you took the rapid test or whatever, you had to do like 2 backup tests or whatever. And then they'd come back. Oh, never mind. Can we just everyone do the PCR? You know why they don't want everyone to do the PCR? Because I learned this.
Got to go to a lab.
Well, yeah. Well, that, and
expensive.
I'm going to test positive for the next 3 months on a PCR.
Yes, that is the key. Because that's what my ex was going through. Both her and my youngest were testing positive. And she called the doctor. The doctor was like, stop fucking testing.
Yeah. That's what they told Mandy.
You got to stop.
She was trying to get back to work. They're like,
just stop that. You quarantined for your certain period. That's what, like, she was. I don't want to, I'm not trying to relitigate my fights with my ex because, this is we were butting heads on this, but like everybody's butting heads over this. There's so much misinformation out there that nobody has like 100% sure idea of what to do in any given situation. But, I was exposed, I was asymptomatic, and she was saying, you got to get tested too. And I'm like, I'm not going to get tested until I have symptoms, because what's the point? But in the meantime, because I had both my kids that were either exposed or testing positive. One of them was symptomatic. They were staying at my house. So I figure if there's COVID in the house, I'm fucking exposed. So I'm just going to act as if I'm exposed. I'm going to quarantine myself. If I need to go out somewhere to get something, I'm going to put a mask on. I'm going to act like I have COVID and I'm just asymptomatic, rather than test and test and test.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're supposed to anyways, right? With the new, I get the scientific method, but is the CDC just making it up as they go along now?
What do you mean about the? They brought the number of quarantine days down from 10 to 5.
Well, are we concerned? To me, I guess it's the reasoning. Are we concerned about people's health, or are we concerned about not leaving places short-staffed?
You understand that this is science that we're applying to the situation, even though it doesn't always seem like it, because it's just, it gets filtered through a lot of political and money-interested bullshit. But it is science. So when the CDC has to make changes, that's what really gets me. It's not like, if you disagree with the CDC, what the CDC is saying, that's fine. You can have an opinion about it. It doesn't weigh heavier than the CDC in my mind, but go ahead and make your voice known. But this idea because they changed some policy, part of their not policy, but their stance on coronavirus, that now they don't know what they're doing. And this isn't even coming from the normal, science deniers. This is coming from people who are like, you got to trust the science. You got to trust the science. You got to stay home for 10 days. And the CDC says, actually, we looked at the numbers again. We're saying 5 now. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, because these people are so fucking set in their ways. They were conditioned to this shit. And now when you try and tell them different, you're like, no, it's not it. And I'm like, no, look, you've got to continue to listen to the experts, right? Listen to the experts in every given moment, because the information is constantly changing.
And trust me, I get that, but it's when they give the reasoning why. I guess for me, too, it was the timing of it. Because they were saying about how they didn't want health care. It all started with them changing it for healthcare workers, right?
Right. Yeah.
They didn't want to it just seemed that to me it seemed like it wasn't based so much off of science as it was like, we don't want hospitals to be short-staffed, so 5 days. At least that's how it came off. I mean, trust me, my experience mirrors what they just said. By the 5th day, I had been fever-free for 24 hours, and I was coughing. I get it.
Right.
But at the same time, they didn't present it like, oh, hey, it didn't come across as like, hey, we found out this and here's why. It seemed more like, we don't want hospitals to be short-staffed.
I know, because when they start with nurses and doctors, then you go, oh, wait, so they have a different immune system than us?
Well, that's the first thing that I thought, yeah. Oh,
right. So then when people push back on that, they're like, fine, okay, everybody 5 days. It's absolutely how they roll it out. You're 100% correct on that, because they can't just come out and be frank with us about any of this shit.
Yeah, it's like I don't recall when someone, becomes a RN or a CNA, all of a sudden, like some force field, as soon as the ink's dry on your fucking employment contract, all of a sudden you're like Peter. You have like a night like Peter Parker had after he got bit with the spider.
Right, you wake up with abs.
Yeah. Your immune system's changing because now you're a healthcare worker. You're stronger.
Yeah.
Because that was the first thing I thought. Like, well, what the fuck is the difference between someone who's a nurse and me?
They run them through the MRI machine overnight and just radiate their bodies.
Yeah, that's your hazing. You have to sleep in the MRI machine first night.
It'll make your immune system into a superhero, though.
Because trust me, we joke with Earl all the time on Gen Exhausted. The scientific method is fuck around and find out. That is really what it is. And shit's gonna change.
Well, right. it's the whole idea of this trust the science thing. Science is not based on trust, right? If you just trusted everything, like it was science at one point that the earth was flat and everybody just trusted that it was flat and they trusted the science. But if you just trust the science, then you're stuck in one place. It should be always question the science. And since you're not a scientist, maybe you should listen to the scientists who are currently questioning the science.
Oh, trust me, I got a lot of friends that'll start giving their opinion on stuff, and I go, okay, doctor so-and-so.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, I know I'm not a doctor, so I trust him. I don't know medicine. I don't know
I'll spout off, but I'll cite my sources.
Yeah.
I know who the fuck I'm listening to.
And just to me, too, the CDC this last time, it seemed guided, like, the way it was presented, it seemed more like commerce guided it than science.
Oh, it's 100%. I mean, that's at the core of my whole beef with this thing is the reason we can't get good information on how to, as individuals, fight this disease is because the government and Pfizer and whoever else, Big Pharma, decided together that they were going to save not every life, but they wanted to save the most amount of lives with just one product, which means that every other option gets either, blasted as like pseudoscience all of a sudden. Uh-oh. Known medications are suddenly pseudoscience because it's not
the Joe Rogan basket.
I know. I'm not. Look, we don't know. I'm not going to. That's the thing is, I'm not going to say take ivermectin.
One way to treat something.
I'm not going to say take ivermectin or you can do this with vitamin D or anything like that because I don't fucking know. But the worst part is not that I don't know because I'm not a scientist or a doctor. I should have experts that I can turn to and get this information. But no, when they actually do come out and say, well, maybe there's something to this ivermectin, they get shut down.
Hey, I did get a text message offering me an antibody treatment. Which is funny, because I did a PCR test. Oh, I'm in the Matrix. I bet motherfuckers were monitoring my phone, making sure I was staying home. Because I got a text on Sunday that was like, hey, it's been 5 days. And it was from the health department.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I didn't get tested at the health department. I got tested at Walgreens.
No, they forward that information. We got that too, yeah. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, and then I got a text that said, hey, if it's really bad, you can get the antibody treatment.
Yep. I got one of those as well. I got the text, not the treatment.
Yeah. But, yeah, I hear you. It seems like, yeah, because that's one of the critiques I've read about, where Biden went wrong. And they said he put all his eggs in the vaccination basket.
Yeah.
And there should be, it should be like investments, right? You should be diversified.
Yeah. Right. Start with your general body health. Start with your weight. Start with any conditions that we know might be exacerbated by COVID. And start with preventative medications that you could take. And include that with the vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine. I took it. I like it. It seems to have worked because I've been around it quite a bit. I haven't exactly been careful. I've been cautious when I've known that I've been exposed and I don't want to expose other people. But for myself, I haven't exactly been cautious about it. And so as far as I can tell, vaccine's working like gangbusters. If it wears off, oh well.
Hey, took me 2 fucking years to get COVID. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
And my theory is the only reason I got it is because I was forced to go work with the public. I was put in a situation I normally wouldn't be in. I don't hang around strangers that often. But I'll tell you what, it seems like COVID is just doing its thing. I mean, and this is probably from the holidays, right? This has got to be from Christmas. Because it just seems the last 2 weeks, it's just, we are definitely we're on an upswing here in the state of Michigan.
Well, are you familiar with the theory on this Omicron strain?
Omicron?
I can't even fucking say it.
So Omicron, but I like Omnicron better.
Did I say Omnicron? It's I think I heard somebody was saying I was listening to a podcast, somebody was saying Omnicron, and it got stuck in my head now. And so now but it's Omicron. But anyway, there's a theory that this is a white hat virus. So, like what a white hat hacker is? It's like, like a Robin Hood type of hacker, or somebody who goes and works for the NSA or something. They're considered a white hat or a good hacker, not somebody who's hacking for, trying to, ransom people's data back to them or something like that. And so there's a theory that this strain was released on purpose to be more contagious but less severe, to basically act as a vaccine, right? Because like a traditional vaccine is a dead virus, one that can't reproduce, and so therefore you can give your body some target practice, and you don't get sick normally, and you don't spread it because it doesn't reproduce and spread.
So basically, nature trying to take care of herd immunity itself?
No, not nature. Not well. I mean, this might be nature, but for the theory that we're talking about here,
gotcha.
Specifically, this was like designed to be more transmissible and less severe, so that way everybody, essentially, whether they want to or not, would get a vaccine.
All right,
in the
fine,
way
assholes.
of
Here's your vaccine.
Right.
Think science is bullshit? We'll just make you get it. I mean,
which is just an interesting idea. I mean, I don't know if I have seen no proof of validity to that claim at all. It's kind of interesting. I wouldn't. Well, I mean, it's not something I would necessarily condone.
Anyway, right?
Well, right, yeah, but I don't know.
They go back. Oh, well, too strong.
Well, yeah, but with the vaccine, I had a choice, right? I know. So I don't know. It's just it's an interesting theory, though. There might be something to it. I don't know. Or maybe it's just following the path that all diseases
or it's
follow.
Mother Nature just doing it.
Well, yeah, like maybe this is evolution, only we normally don't see it. Like evolution happens at a much faster pace on simple organisms like a virus, but not this fast usually. But that is the normal path of a disease, is that it starts out really strong, and because you figure if your job as a virus, right, is to, like any other organism, is to reproduce, right? But in order to reproduce, you need hosts. Well, if you are not just making those hosts sick, but you're killing them, you kill them at a really fast rate, then you're going to burn up your supply faster than you can spread. And you're eventually going to kill yourself off. You won't have anywhere to reproduce because you've killed off all your hosts faster than you could actually spread your other copies of yourself. So a natural path is that a disease would kind of plateau and spread out to be infectious, but not necessarily deadly. That way you can bounce around. Maybe you can even hit the same host, every season. You can come back around with your cousins because you didn't kill them with the cold last year.
You still want to be welcome, right? You don't want to.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
you
like
want to be invited back.
Like, think about most parasites don't kill you.
You want a second date.
If like gone out of control, I'm sure a tapeworm or whatever could like eventually do enough damage to maybe kill you. But generally, it might make you sick. It might fuck with you, but it doesn't want to kill you, because then where does that leave the tapeworm? In a dead body.
Yeah.
That's no longer taking in food.
Yeah. Shit, I killed it. Damn it.
Yep.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Honestly, all the government should have done is said, everybody, go watch Osmosis Jones. I know a lot of y'all forgot about the show. It's a fun little animated movie. It'll explain all of this shit to you in bright colors and funny voices.
But instead, everyone else is now an amateur fucking doctor, virologist.
Everyone's an expert on everything. Everyone's a movie critic. Everyone's
it's
a
always
music
good to
critic.
go in, half-armed with medical information. That's how I'd make my decisions. What? No, WebMD said this. Fuck you.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Did you miss out on Bitcoin? Did you miss out on Ethereum? I bet you did. Don't miss out on PulseX.com. I'm Richard Hart, and I'm the founder of Hex.com, whose price went up 10,000x in only 623 days. PulseX.com is launching now, and the rates start ramping up at 5% per day starting January 10th. You really don't want to be late. Go to PulseX.com right now, PulseX.com.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
So let's talk about funner shit then.
It's true.
There's a new Matrix movie. The, what did they call this one? Resurrected?
Yeah, didn't we talk about this?
Did we talk about that?
I
didn't watch it until yesterday. So,
well, I thought maybe we were talking about it.
yeah, it might have come up, but yeah, I didn't. I think I watched the first 10 minutes of it, and I was like, I don't really know about this.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, is you only saw 10 minutes. So you finished it. What do you think?
It's actually pretty interesting. I mean, it's essentially, I'll start with this. It's probably the best out of any of the movies, but only because it takes all three of the original and compresses that into one story that they managed to keep under 2.5 hours, just barely. And it does push it a little bit. It pushes some of the concepts a little bit. I mean, that was always my beef with Matrix, was really big concept that they never went shallower than the surface on, right? All the interesting stuff they paved over, and they just went to bullet time and gung fu.
Yeah, they went with the hits.
Yeah.
They went with why people watched it.
And so this one does, I mean, it provides, I don't know, not as much of the fighting, but it actually does some more of the interesting stuff of what would this world look like? What does the world look like after the revolution? And, I don't want to spoil anything because it is it's pretty clever how it's set up. And definitely the first part of the movie is the stronger part. And really the first third of the movie is pretty strong, pretty entertaining. And then it just kind of devolves into the normal bullshit. I mean, even in this though, the action scenes weren't even entertaining really. They were just kind of big messes. A lot of this movie reminded me more of a Terry Gilliam film, Time Bandits or Brazil. Has a kind of wackiness to it, an over-the-top campiness to it. I mean, overall, it's a really enjoyable movie. If you're interested in sci-fi or you're just kind of into the Matrix aesthetic in general, yeah, check it out. It's not some huge disappointment, but it does ultimately kind of just fail in the way that, it sets up big concepts, big ideas, big life-changing things, and then hinges it all on a love story like it did in the original.
Well, the audience and the critics in step on this one. 64
what did they say?
And 63.
Really?
So, it's just a collective,
It's interesting. I guess only one of the sisters, the Wachowskis, only one of them came back for this movie.
How rare is that, by the way? Two siblings transitioning?
I don't know if I don't know if there's any other examples.
Are they twins? Or are they born in separate? Because I guess
I don't know.
Twins,
I'd have to.
It's even wilder if one's older than the other. One's 2 years older than the other one.
Really, they're not twins.
So yeah,
Wait, which one?
I thought maybe they were identical twins that hey. Wow.
What are their names? You're looking at the wiki.
Lana and Lily.
So Lana is the director of this movie.
Lana was Larry, and Lily was Andy.
I'm just curious. I don't know, but which one's older?
Lana.
Okay. Another podcaster, Graham McMillan. He's a journalist. He writes. Well, I think he used to write for Entertainment Weekly and stuff like that. He's got his own. Why am I brain farting on all this shit? My language is just destroyed right now. What do they call them when they write shit online that's not affiliated with anything? A fucking blog. God damn it. Jesus Christ. So Graham McMillan said he thinks that the Wachowskis are really good filmmakers with horrible taste. And I think that kind of sums it up for me. Because, like, it's the whole leather and sunglasses and, you know, the trench coat shit. I mean, it's all stupid as fuck. But I get it. Like, it's fun. I mean, it's just like, it's like superhero movies. Like, you know, Captain America's suit is stupid as fuck. Nobody would wear that in real life. I don't care how realistic you try and panel it and make it like, no, this is armor. Like, no, it's a stupid suit. But it looks great, right? And they look great in The Matrix. I'm fine with the aesthetic. I just don't think it's like, oh, that's super cool. And I think it's like really tacky.
So just good at their craft with bad taste.
Yeah.
Would it be like John Waters? Like, isn't he considered a decent filmmaker, or is it just his style is just so... Or is he like...
Well, John Waters has grown into a good filmmaker.
Or is he like the Radiohead of movies? Like, you have to say you like them if you say you're into movies.
Yeah, probably closer to that. But I mean, these days, well, I don't know what he's directed recently, but his more recent stuff is definitely, I mean, I think he's a good director. I wouldn't say that, like, you know, Pink Flamingos or Female Trouble are like great films, but that was
high cinema.
Yeah. But then, you know, it's kind of weird because I don't know, like, I don't know how he got films like that made in the first place, but it seems like those were the types of, like, we don't usually see those films from directors. You know, they make weird shit when they're in, like, college, and then they get real jobs, and then they, you know, direct dinosaurs and monsters or whatever.
Right.
Or maybe real people sometimes. Sometimes, you know, they still make, like, these movies that don't have any CGI in them. It's kind of crazy.
It's a herd. Yeah. It's still a thing. They should just put them right into streaming.
Yep. I don't know. So, what the Matrix movies, all of them, and this one being no exception, what they really hinge on is the cast. And they cast so strong in this that it really kept me engaged.
Well, you got Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss, so you got two of the originals.
Yeah. And Keanu's... this is like some of the strongest work he's done in the Matrix universe, certainly. And Carrie-Anne Moss, just fan-fucking-tastic.
Wasn't she dead? Or did I not? Or did I miss something?
No, she, like, had a family and all that shit, but, like, she doesn't pop up in a bunch of stuff.
Just, I know, did she die in 2, and then I never saw 3 or 4. Oh,
her character dead? Yeah. Trinity? Yeah.
Well, how the fuck's she in the movie?
Well, Keanu died too, didn't he? Didn't they both die, or did only her die in that crash? I thought they both died. I think they did, because
was that 4? Is that the one I didn't see?
No, 4. This is 4.
Oh, wait,
the one we're talking about. Matrix Revolutions was the third one. That's the one where That's the one where they steal the ship and crash it into they fucking blow up the Death Star. That's the third one. They kamikaze that shit. And they both die in the explosion. It's a sacrifice.
I mean, the moment I checked out of that series is the rave in the second one.
Yeah.
Like, everything was cool to that rave. After that rave, I was like, what is happening? What are you doing?
No, honestly, I think that you could just watch, because they show you enough of what happens in the second and third, but only the parts that you need. They flash back every once in a while to the original movie, and then just a couple shots from, like, the third movie. I don't think they show anything from the second, come to think of it.
Like, listen,
less said the better. Yeah.
I'm just going to pretend nothing ever happened.
Well, that's the other thing, is, like, this is a sequel that actually has a reason for existing. Now, you can argue whether that's a good reason, but that's more than the second and third movies had, because I don't think that The Matrix was ever intended to be a trilogy. It was just super successful, and they're like, well, can't stop now.
Let's squeeze every fucking penny we can out of this.
Right. I think it was intended to be a trilogy, as Star Wars was intended to be one of a 12-part epic.
Yeah, they didn't plan on the stoners of America latching into this.
You cannot convince me that when George Lucas was making Star Wars, he was like, everyone's gonna flip their lids when they find out this guy's his daddy.
Right.
No. He was like, we need a twist for the second movie. I guess it's his dad.
Is there any video footage of George Lucas and Kermit?
We need a twist for the third movie. I guess it's his sister.
Right. And then the suits got involved. Need shit for the kids.
Yep.
Fucking Ewoks. Although they'll take the Ewoks over Jar Jar any day.
So honestly, I think if you've seen the original Matrix and you thought it was good enough, I think this is worth a watch. And you can just watch the original and this, and anything important that happened in between, they'll let you know, trust me. Oh, that's what, no, okay, so you got me sidetracked on Carrie-Anne Moss. The other movie that I watched was Memento, which definitely holds up. And it has two people from the original Matrix in there, Carrie-Anne Moss and, what's his nuts? What's the guy? Joe Pantel.
Joey Pants.
Yes, thank you. We'll just go with Joey Pants. Because I don't know how many vowels are in his last name.
Joe Pantoliano. He was just on, what was it, Adam Carolla. He was a great interview. He always is, though.
Oh, yeah. He's a storyteller.
Yeah, he just seems like a decent dude.
He is, yeah. I like him. Like, he's so good at playing. Like, he's really good in The Matrix. He's really good in Memento.
That's right. I forgot he was in The Matrix. Yeah, the late 90s was good to Joey Pants. He's in a lot of high-profile shit. Shit, remember when Memento was out? Oh, it's a movie backwards!
Yeah. Yeah, I watched that with my youngest the other day. It's like...
They're like, whoa, Dad, this movie's great! And,
yeah, they really liked it. And I was enjoying it, too. I mean, I remembered the movie and generally what it was about, but I didn't remember all the twists and turns. And, I mean, the only thing that doesn't really hold up as much is Guy Pearce.
Yeah, right. You're like, oh, I remember that guy. He was supposed to be a thing.
Yeah, he was a thing for a minute, but man, he just doesn't have enough charisma. He really...
No, he looked good with his shirt off. He's one of those guys.
Yeah. Well, he was
They gave him some frosted tips and told him to hit the gym, and he got himself a few rolls.
Yeah. And he was a big part of the reason why that Time Machine movie was unwatchable. I thought it was kind of interesting, but it was boring as fuck.
There are the male, ladies, regardless of what you think, there is the male equivalent to like, hey man, at least you're pretty.
Oh, speaking of pretty dudes, I mean, the cast, I'm bouncing all over the place, but I wanted to go through the cast of The Matrix, and I kept getting sidetracked. So the ones that they added on this one, there's no more, well, there's an Agent Smith. It's just not there's basically like a rebooted version of Agent Smith, a newer, better Agent Smith. And it's played by an actor whose name I forget, but he got known for that Manhunter series that was on Netflix that like everybody was watching.
Does he call him Mr. Anderson?
Yeah. He is amazing. He is the highlight of that. And the other, what's his nuts? Doogie Howser's in it as well.
MPH?
Yeah. MPH is really good too, but I don't want to say anything about his character.
It's too spoilery.
Yeah. But yeah, as the new Agent Smith, what is that guy's name? He is a slab of beef, man. He is just like, they even make a joke about it. They're like, they wanted to upgrade it. It's like, he says, they went a little overboard if you ask me. I mean, the eyes are a bit too piercing.
Jonathan Groff.
Is that his name? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's fantastic. I want to see him in more villain roles. He was chewing the scenery it's not even chewing the scenery because he's like, that's like, over the top, exaggerated, like really leaning into the lines. And he was He was really subtle, but he was intimidating as fuck.
Hey, I'm participating in the culture.
What do you do?
I watched a TV show I haven't watched before.
Oh, hey, you watched something new?
Yes.
What a way to start off a new year.
Right? If you heard of Abbott Elementary?
Abbott Elementary. No, what's that on?
For me it's on Hulu, but I guess it's ABC.
Oh, it's a network show.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I realize I think the style appeals to me. It's a little bit of The Office mixed with Parks and Rec as far as how it's shot. So it's got like the mockumentary feel, kind of, but too with kind of
okay.
like how Parks and Rec started as a mockumentary and just kind of turned into like it evolved into something different.
Yeah,
it's kind of got that feel to it. I don't know.
Was this like Inner City School?
Yeah, and just
I dig it.
And it's got the dry, sarcastic humor. It's got a good cast. Like,
Nice.
I haven't had
That's
any
going
like
on my
LOL
list.
moments yet, but I've had enough to keep me like I'm gonna watch this show and see how it goes.
I like this. So, creator is Quinta Brunson. I'm not familiar with her, but also is like the star. I'm guessing that's the lead that I'm seeing. All this stuff. Yeah, that's her. Actress and stand-up comedian. Born in Philly, worked at Second City. What else has she done?
I like her though. Like
she was on iZombie. Yeah, it looks like she's done some voice work, but this is like looks to be like the first thing that she's, that's her thing.
It's got the Everybody Hates Chris guy in it. I was going to call him a kid, but he hasn't been a kid for like 15 years.
Oh, is that who that dude is?
Yeah, it's got the token white guy. I do find his role. I mean, it's definitely in 2021. I find his role, I don't say hilarious, but does make me chuckle.
Dude,
he's the white guy trying too hard.
They have on South Side, they have a token white guy, and it's the guy who owns the studio. He has like a basement studio where the people come over and record their rap and their R&B songs. And he's always like, reading some crazy science fiction and blowing their mind with shit.
Hey, I always laugh at white people stereotypes because they're true.
Oh yeah, well, dude, that's for real. Like I was
the
the only white dude at Guitar Center that the brothers trusted because I knew how to set up a studio. They're like, he's all right.
Yeah, right.
Told me how to hook up my subwoofer. He's good.
Helped me lay down my tracks. He's all right with me. But I don't know. But I've also noticed it's a trend I've noticed. If I stumble onto a TV show myself and I like it, it's gone after one season.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially on network. Like, don't get too attached to that shit.
I remember there was a show, it was like in 2012. They tried to give Matthew Perry and Courtney Cox a show again.
Yeah.
And it was, about, all I remember, he lost his wife and he had to go to a support group. And the support group was essentially all of like the big character actors at the time. Like they all finally like tried to give them all a gig at once. And I thought, what John Cho was in it too. Like it was a decent show. That ironically, that Everybody Hates Chris kid was in it. He was still somewhat a kid. Yeah, one season done. I'll go on.
It's tough. I mean, like I don't know how network does it at all anymore because I listen to a lot of podcasts that are about old Hollywood. So like there's You Must Remember This, which they just go into like extended stories. So they just did a big story comparing the careers of Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin, and that was a great series. 8 or 10 part in-depth episodes. Gilbert Gottfried, he's always got he gets the oldest fucking people he can find on that show, and they tell crazy ass stories. But they talk about being on show, like Dean Martin's on television. You know how many people are watching Dean Martin? 25, 30 million people, all in America.
Oh yeah, did you hear Adam Carolla yesterday when he talked to Chachi?
Oh yeah.
That's what they say. 25, 30 million, and
exactly
this is back
same
when there were
thing.
only 240 million people.
Exactly, and now and he said like a hit show, you get 1 million, 1.5 million, and that's like a good show.
Yeah, and it's like, you 25, 30 million now, that's like the fucking Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, well, You know, I don't know. It's got to be the advertising money. Like, how are the networks still staying afloat? Especially, too, you got companies like Netflix blowing in and starting to win all the legitimate awards.
Sure. You know, I get how they're staying afloat. They just keep churning out content. How do they, try and figure out what shows they're actually going to... I mean, they're just... The network's always just been shooting in the dark. Mm-hmm. But now they're like shooting in the dark with their eyes gouged out and their ears with earmuffs on.
Yeah, I mean they're a dinosaur, man. No one's because too that networks are dependent on you watching like appointment viewing, like you watching right now, and it's flipped. The viewer is now in charge. I will watch this when I choose to.
You know, it's crazy. Speaking of podcasts about old Hollywood, John Suntress, who does Word Balloon, also does Kinescope, which is about actually it's about stuff that was done on Kinescope, which is a process of like broadcasting live on early TV. And they were talking about the passing of Betty White recently, and we're talking about how TV's a dinosaur. Like Betty White was there at the beginning of TV. They had footage of her from 1939 from a show that was like basically a test for like, hey, is anybody out there with a television?
She's seen like the beginning and end of TV.
She's on it. She was like on there the whole time. There's they're talking about her on fucking like popping up on as guests on shows on game shows. She's all these different dramas that she's been on. Of course, the Golden Girls that our generation knows her from. Like, I think television might have died with Betty White. She's like, 100 years is enough, and I'm taking TV with me. I'm taking broadcast with me. Have fun with your streaming, kids.
Right. What about her appearance on 30 Rock?
What was her appearance on 30 Rock? I don't remember that one.
I'm bringing it up. It was the Rule of Threes episode.
Is there a better person, like a better famous person? Like, who's got a bad story about Betty White?
Well, she's got 2 ex-husbands, so maybe 2 guys.
I'm sure they've got some bad stories to tell, but I want to hear her side because I think I might agree with her. And just all around, like not just nice and good, but also funny and raunchy, could take a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Like understood humor. Never in her 99 years she'd say, no, that's not being funny.
Yeah. She evolved with humor. Like she evolved she realized what being an entertainer was. Like she was on a lot of roasts, taking a lot of hits.
Yep.
I got a 30 Rock appearance.
Yeah, all right.
Keep refreshing. Maybe Andy Dick has died in the last 20 seconds.
Okay, I'll keep looking.
No, I have to take matters into my own hands.
She's reading a book.
Yeah.
Hello?
I remember this.
Boo!
Who is this?
Boo!
Tries to scare.
Hey, Betty, it's TJ.
Tracy! I haven't seen you since that Rapping Grandma movie we did. You were so funny as the Rapping Grandma.
So how are you feeling? Any arm pain?
Shortness of breath.
Plans to investigate corruption in Russia?
Wait a minute. Are you calling because the Pac-Man guy and Jugbert Cody died? Is this a rule of 3?
He ate a bowl of ghost meat in his honor.
Right, Jordan.
But I am going to be at your funeral. I will bury you.
It's almost right on that one.
Yeah, she almost did in 2014, right? And I believe he was going to eat what do you say? A bowl of cherries and some ghost meat.
Okay, yes, thank you. A bowl of cherries and some ghost meat. That's better. Oh, that's great.
Oh,
I love it. It's just a boo.
Yeah, boo. Yeah. And then you can't see it because it's audio, but she says hello, and he just like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, she's just mad that she answered.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was he didn't want to be the third one, right?
Yeah, because there's like a scene later where he runs into Jimmy Fallon, and they're trying to kill each other.
The Weedsmen Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsmen Podcast.
Well, this is just a a rough week for my, like, I grew up on Full House and Golden Girls, man.
Yeah.
And
Bob Saget, R.I.P.
And that's really rough because, I mean, certainly everyone can agree that way too soon.
See, now I was wondering if Full House maybe was like a little too, like maybe you were a little too old or maybe it was a little too square.
Nah, it was hitting kind of in a sweet spot because if I remember correctly, now you'll correct me because look up when it aired, but I want to say that
87 to 92
was like still preteen. I was 87, so what? I was 12 when it came out.
Yeah,
right. So you get me at 12 years old, and you put What's Her Nuts on that show?
Oh, Candace Cameron.
Come on, man.
See, it got me when I was like 7 or 8.
How am I not watching that shit? And
so,
but also,
like 7 or 8, I thought Cut It Out was hilarious.
Yes, and I was also a big fan of Dave Coulier's Nickelodeon show,
Out of Control.
Out of Control.
That show is underrated.
That show is awesome. And so yeah, I was a big fan. I was watching Full House.
Plus,
I mean, I tapered off.
Yeah,
I probably watched the first couple of seasons really strong and probably tapered off after that. By the time I hit 15, yeah, I'd learned of The Cure, and I knew what. I might not know what pussy tastes like, but I knew what it smelled like on my finger at that point. Yeah, and that was enough to set me on a path that didn't include sitcoms on ABC on Friday night.
Yeah, see, for me now, I can tell you with Full House, kind of the same thing with me, too, because when it ended, I'm hitting, like, 8th grade. So I can tell you, I was on board the first season. By the last season, I was not.
Yeah.
Because I'd started noticing things like guitars
I didn't stick around for the
tits.
whole thing. But we're talking about, what's his nuts?
Bob Saget.
Yeah, thank you. Bob Saget. It wasn't just Full House. It was America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yes.
Everybody watched that shit. And
Jackass before Jackass?
And I was a fan of his bad humor. Like, he would tell the worst jokes and look dead in the camera and just kind of make this face like, yeah, I did that.
He was telling dad jokes.
Yeah, and I was into that. I've always been into dad jokes. So I've always been into his sense of humor. And then, you know, I got older, stopped watching the sitcoms, didn't watch America's Funniest Home Videos anymore. They got a new host anyway. Just kind of forgot all about that. And then, like, what, the Saget guy pops up on The Aristocrats. Why is he in this movie? This is all about funny comedians. I didn't even know this guy did stand-up. And he tells the most insane. Do you have it?
Oh,
do we get a little taste? I know. We don't. That's why I said a little taste.
We know, too, for me, I know you're not a fan of Half Baked, but he shows up in there, right?
That's true, yeah.
He's the guy who asked Dave Chappelle if he's ever sucked dick for marijuana.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's Danny Tanner.
Yeah.
He's talking about sucking dick for coke. That's kind of cool.
And that was mind-blowing. And then, you know, I start hearing him in interviews and stuff, and he starts popping up on other things. He does a stand-up and does the roasts, and you're just like, this guy is not only just filthy, and it's funny because, the guy from Full House said cunt. It's like, oh my God, he's really funny too. Like, he's just legitimately flat out funny.
Well, an earlier comedy memory I have of him as well is did you ever see him host Saturday Night Live when he was doing Full House? I remember his monologue.
I don't think I did.
The whole shtick of the runner in the monologue was he kept saying nipples, ass, and wiener.
But were they working it in, or was he just like had Tourette's?
No, he was saying it like, I'm just so happy that I could say nipples, ass, and wiener.
Okay.
and then he started doing. I want to say he started trying to do like the Kevin Nealon, Mr. Subliminal,
right? Nibbles.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
I'm really glad to be here tonight, Nibbles.
Yeah, ass wiener.
Ass wiener.
We got a great nipple show for you tonight. Like that kind of shit.
No, I mean, just
Aristocrats loading up.
Somebody who made me laugh almost my entire fucking life. You know, from as a kid all the way up to when he passed away way too soon. So I guess he has a lot in common with Betty White. in that respect. Just, unfortunately.
He's not in her death triangle, though. She was in it with, like, Harry Reid and somebody else.
Oh, Sidney Poitier and Peter Bogdanovich.
Oh.
Fuck Harry Reid.
Oh, I bet he was?
Yeah, those were the three that went like boom, boom, boom. It was Betty White, and then I can't remember if Sidney or Peter went, but yeah, I think they were on the same day.
A lot of old Hollywood checking out all at once.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, Sidney Poitier is a legend. Doesn't really mean anything to me because I don't really know his movies. I mean, know of his movies, but like Peter Bogdanovich. I've seen most of his movies, but definitely like Paper Moon that was really a change for. That was one of the first movies that I saw. I was like, oh, this is an old movie. Why would I want to watch this? This movie looks boring. Oh, this movie's actually interesting. Holy shit, this movie's amazing. Holy shit, old movies can be amazing.
RollingStone.com's got a lot of shit going on, but there we go. Bobby's loading.
Gigs around this great country, maybe in Vegas. It's kind of like Cirque du Soleil, but more like Jerk du Soleil, because that's what they're going to do to each other. They walked into this guy's office, and the agent goes, well, what do you people do? And the father's like, watch us. The father's like ripping off his kid's clothes, and he takes his wife's bra, and he throws it off of her, and he rips off her underwear, and he takes some of her pubes with it. It's horrible, and there's a little bit of blood starts dripping down her leg, and they're all like, it's like women and children are walking up here right now. So the father's like totally undressing his whole family, and then he gets out an epaulette and he starts shaving his wife's back. Daughter's got like a little, she's having her friend, she's having her period is what she's having. So he just pulls out the tampon and throws it at the window, and it sticks. And then they all just start. They go down on each other in all different configurations. It's 69, it's 29 because the kids are young, it's 9. Stood over on the guy's desk, and he's like taking him from behind. All of a sudden, the kid can't take it. Diarrhea starts squirting out of his ass, and it won't stop. It's like a hemorrhaging.
Okay, we get it.
The kid starts spinning in a circle because he can't control it. It's kind of like Curly and the Stooges. Mo, Larry the Cheese. He's spinning it in a circle.
That movie's great, though, because
it is.
How many people tell it? Like a dozen?
Oh, it might be more than that. Yeah, I mean, Gilbert has a great version. Sarah Silverman's in it.
Penn Jillette has a...
well, it's Penn
no, that's
Jillette.
Right. He made the movie.
Well, him and Paul Provenza.
Yes.
They together made that movie. So I think if Paul basically directed it and Penn funded it and kind of, helped gather their cast.
I'm trying to think. Isn't Norton in it? Jim Norton? I think Louis in it.
You might be right on Jim Norton. I can't remember. Oh, I watched that Super Dave doc, too, on HBO. Have you seen that?
No, how is it?
As a documentary, it's all right, but it's well worth watching because it's super tight. Like, it's just over an hour, and it's a lot of old footage. So you get to see like his appearances on Kimmel and Letterman, him appearing on skits on like Sonny and Cher and on Smothers Brothers, his own show on Showtime, certainly lots of Curb stuff. So it's all funny. And I was a big fan of Super Dave back in the day.
Hey, real quick, going back to Super Dave would fit into this lineup. Dude, I haven't seen the Aristocrats in a while.
Yeah.
Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried, George Carlin, Sarah Silverman, Drew Carey, Whoopi Goldberg, Don Rickles, Hank Azaria, Andy Dick, Jason Alexander, Chris Rock, Mario Cantone, Robin Williams, Louis Black, 3 people I've never heard of, Stephen Banks, Shelley Berman, Chris Albrecht, Billy Connolly, Paul Reiser, Bill Maher, Eddie Izzard, Phyllis Diller, Howie Mandel, Stephen Wright, Susie Essman, Richard Lewis, Trey Parker, David Brenner, Jon Stewart, Matt Stone, Wayne Cotter, Wendy Liebman, Richard Jenny, Mark Cohen, Carrie Fisher, Kevin Pollak, Eric Idle, Taylor Negron, Martin Mull, Lisa Lampanelli, Andy Richter. Wow. I mean, that is some...
What
like
are the names
of comedy.
I got to hear the names of the ones that you didn't know. I'm curious.
Stephen Banks, Stephen Banks, Shelley Berman, Chris Albrecht.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Well, Stephen Banks that's the SpongeBob guy.
Pat Cooper.
That's the creator of SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's the person who created it.
Yeah.
Because Tom Kenny is SpongeBob.
Tom Kenny's the voice. He's the voice of it, but yeah, Stephen Banks is the creator of SpongeBob.
And then and Pat Cooper was the only person I didn't really know.
Yeah, who's Pat Cooper? Well, yeah, Super Dave, or I should call him Bob Einstein, his real name. Loved telling dirty jokes too. I'm sure he's told the Aristocrats, and he tells one and they have him on the doc telling one that he used to tell a lot. I've heard him tell it on Gilbert Gottfried's show and other places too. And I'll go through the quick version of it, but boy gets up in the middle of the night. Little boy has a bad dream, walks into his parents' room to tell him that he had a bad dream. Can I sleep with them? And catches his parents boning on the bed, right? And he goes, what's going on? And the dad says, oh, don't worry about it. We were just having some fun. It's all good. Just go back to bed. I'll come tuck you in a few minutes. So then he finishes up his business with the wife, goes back down the hall to tuck the kid in. He finds he's got his grandma in there, and he's going to town on his grandma. And he says, Billy, what are you doing? And Billy says, not so funny when it's your mother, is it?
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I knew him and Albert Brooks were brothers. Didn't know Albert Brooks' original name is Albert Einstein.
Yeah, he did not appreciate the joke.
No pressure, Mom and Dad.
Well, his dad was Park Your Carcass.
What?
It was, you gotta look it up. But it was a character that, I don't know, comedy was weird back then. It was just the thing, like, he would walk into a scene and he'd introduce, hi, I'm Park Your Carcass. Why do I gotta sit? No, that's my name.
Yeah, that was back
when. It was like it was like supposed to be a Greek name, right? It was a take on a Greek name.
Oh, so casual racism humor?
Yes. I looked up Pat Cooper. I don't recognize this guy at all either.
It's like saying my name is Donnie Spaghetti and I talk like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Tim and Eric, they had spaghetti. Did you not watch Tim and Eric?
I wasn't a big Tim and Eric, but I'm familiar with what I know the spaghetti thing.
They knew their audience. Whenever I saw Tim and Eric, I would be like super duper high and be like, well, is this funny? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure nothing else is on. So I'm going to keep going with this.
I don't know. I've seen clips, and I think that it holds up. I wonder if it's on HBO. Maybe it's on HBO Max.
No. Wait. I was going to say, if it's Comedy Central property, it'd be on Paramount. But no, it was a Cartoon Network property.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of HBO, there was the premiere of season 2 of The Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, I know.
Pretty big premiere. It was an hour premiere, and then they released the second episode as well. So there was an hour and a half of Gemstones on.
I'm about to cancel my cable. My contract's up.
Yeah.
So I think when I kill that, I might just start flipping for like at least HBO. Like I got to see Succession. Yeah, The Righteous Gemstones coming back on and not being able to see it. That's a bridge too far, man.
Pretty strong start, I have to say.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's holding up to season 1 so far, and I was a big fan of season 1.
And I'm hearing the sister's killing it already.
Oh, she is. Gosh, she is just such an amazing actor. I mean,
her name's Edie something. I don't know her last name. Her real name is Edie something or other.
Yeah. I forget it too, but I mean that whole cast is super funny, but she walks into a scene and just fucking takes it over every single time.
Yeah, and she's great with one-liner. Like I was watching The League. She's in The League for an episode, and she definitely plays a type, but she's got that type nailed.
Yeah,
and she's able to. What's her character name? She's able to spin it into her, and she's really good with coming up with one-liners.
I gotta. Oh shit. I was going to see if I could pull up a clip real quick, but yeah, I think I got this. Hold on.
And who'd have thought Adam Devine, a legit actor? Well, I mean, we knew there were signs coming, but I mean, every time I see that, I mean, too, and he looks like a Hollywood actor, right? I mean, he's definitely got the looks for it. But every time I see him, I always just think like, man, that was just 15 years ago. He was some stoner in a dorm room making YouTube videos. Now he's like a legit good actor. He's a legit good comic actor. So if you've seen his stand-up, maybe stick to the sketch stuff.
Yeah, not a big fan of that. Oh, here we go. So just to set the scene, she's got her husband now. They're married.
Oh, that's right.
What's
that? She said, "I really haven't gobbled 1,000 cocks." that she married that guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
And they go to visit her daddy to talk about getting her new husband baptized, and they find that he's got an old friend that's staying with them.
Who's this hot piece of tail? This is my daughter, Judy. Excuse me. This one of her girlfriends?
I'm not a lesbian partner. I'm her husband, BJ.
No, BJ, you're not shaking his hand. He's big dicking you.
This is Junior, an old friend from Memphis, just visiting.
Daddy, sir, Dr. Gemstone. As you know, I've wholeheartedly accepted Christ into my life and decided to get baptized.
We're gonna skip ahead because she finally asked the friend to leave the room, but she's eyeballing him the whole time. The whole time she's like just shooting daggers at this dude. And then
Carried away last night.
They kick him out of the room.
Catching up with an old friend.
Seems like more than catching up. To me, you have a black eye. A couple of old mysterious men having slumber parties? Shit's obvious, dude.
What's obvious?
You are fucking man. Y'all are hanging out here being rough with each other like grizzly bears doing donkey punches, tussling each other, getting each other hard.
Judy, wash your mouth out with soap.
Daddy, that man is not cute. Call me crazy. I always hoped if you were going to yank a pole, it'd be somebody hot, like a Patrick Stewart type.
Well, maybe next time you'll think twice before barging into my home unannounced.
You know what, Daddy? I'm going to go surprise somebody who gives a shit about their daughter. Okay. How about that? Come on, Beach. Don't touch anything, because it's probably covered in secretions, and there's probably Hep C loads everywhere.
Judy. Wasn't supposed to go.
There's probably Hep C loads everywhere. And what's great about that scene is the whole time that she's like yelling at her dad, she's thrusting her chest out like she's gonna like fight him or something.
Are they they're one episode in? Two?
Yeah, they did a premiere night with 2 episodes.
Uncle Baby Billy still there?
No, Uncle Baby Billy.
Not yet?
Unfortunately. I hope he comes back. I haven't seen hide nor hair of Walton Goggins yet.
Well, he's going to be in it because I've heard him do interviews, and he's talked about shooting the second season. So
good.
So I know he's in it.
Good. I don't see how you just take that guy out of the show.
I would protest if there was no Uncle Baby Billy.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Did you not watch first season?
Right.
You got gold there. What does he say? Of course I heard you. I pretended like I didn't. No, yes, bitch, I heard you. I pretended like I didn't.
Yeah, that's Oh, dude, you should check out Justified. And if you got access to Hulu, I think they got Justified on Hulu, and he's like the main villain in Justified. He's so good.
They're like 9 seasons.
I think like 7, yeah. Oh, dude, that ate up a big chunk of my pandemic. Me just going, maybe I should check out Justified.
What's this? Justin Timberlake's not in this anywhere. This isn't a concert video? Interesting Bob Saget factoid I heard today.
What's that?
He directed Dirty Work.
I haven't seen that movie.
It's about out of him, Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang.
That's right.
Artie Lang is the one still left alive.
That's insane.
Right?
I mean, even Artie is like, this is not... he feels like he's living in the Matrix right now.
Maybe Artie's body's doing what coronavirus is doing with Omicron.
I don't follow.
Doesn't want to completely kill Artie because then it dies. I don't know where I'm going with that. I've been hitting this cartridge a lot.
Yeah. You know what? I did watch another Wachowski movie, the Speed Racer movie. Have you ever seen that?
No, wasn't it a big bomb?
I guess. I mean, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. But it's more cartoon than movie. I mean, it's got real people in it and everything, but everybody is so exaggerated. Oh, it's also got John Goodman in it, just like Righteous Gemstone.
Is Chim Chim in it?
The chimpanzee, yeah. He's one of the best parts. He gets to drive the cart. No, it's just like the cartoon. Like the whole 2 hours of it feels like a sugar rush.
Christina Ricci's in it?
Yeah. She's fantastic.
Well, she's Speed Racer's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I forget what her name is. Susan Sarandon, John Goodman, Matthew Fox as Racer X.
Oh, at one point, like the kid who plays Speed Racer, he's getting hugs from his mom and the girl next door. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. You got Susan Sarandon and Christina Ricci hugging on you, man.
Right?
Heaven.
Oh, the critics are not, 41. The audience gives it a 60. So they like it just as much as the new Matrix.
Yeah. I don't see how you can give it a 41. I mean, it succeeds in being exactly what it wanted to be, which is like, what if we did Speed Racer, but just as a movie, not try and adapt it or like make it grittier or more realistic or turn it into something else. No, let's just do exactly that. Like how they did the Flintstones. Again, speaking of John Goodman. The Flintstones, I don't think it succeeded as well, but I thought in their concept, it was pretty solid, the way that they took the cartoon. So let's do exactly that.
Right.
It doesn't, there's plenty of story there. I mean, it's not like they're just racing around for no reason. I'm not saying it's a complex story, but it was the story of a Speed Racer and Racer X and the whole organization. And I don't know. I mean, honestly, the Matrix has less story in it than like the Matrix is like, we found out everything was fake. So we fed this guy baby food and then taught him how to do Kung Fu on a computer.
Seems legit.
And he fell in love with somebody. Like that's the story of the Matrix. Like, this was like a kid gets adopted and to a family that's a team of racers and he becomes really successful and there's all these other corporations that want him to sponsor him and everything and some of them are threatening to take over the organization in order to get access to this superstar. And so he's, fighting for his family and for their family business. And he also uncovers a scandal along the way. And there's the mystery of Racer X and who he really is. And they solve that. And they also have a full relationship between him and Trixie, going from at the beginning of the movie, like just being next door neighbors, to actually having a relationship by the end of it. I mean, it developed like I don't know how you could miss it. It's like surprisingly heavy on story for how light of a movie it feels.
To me, it was. It was just something I was like, hey, they should make a movie about this. But I can see. I get what you're saying. Is it, and looking at the shots of it too, like it looks like they tried to like kind of pay homage to the cartoon.
Yeah,
and maybe that's what the critics maybe got hung up on.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's a total sensory assault, and I can get why it's not for everyone.
Like the screenshots I'm looking at, especially like of John Goodman, like I definitely get like a Dick Tracy vibe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because everybody's. You put everybody in those bright colors and some of them are in crazy wigs and everything's exaggerated makeup. Yeah, if you're not like really chewing the scenery, then you just seem like you're dead. Like everything has to be exaggerated.
Is Chim Chim always getting into shit?
It's camp. Essentially that's what it is. I mean, that's what Roger
Waters.
That's what John Waters movies were. Everything was exaggerated.
There was some camp to the wall. Especially if you've seen the movie.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Some anti-Semitism in it even.
Then even, I mean, the Matrix is camp too. Running around in those skin-tight leather outfits.
The EDM soundtrack.
I mean, that's what they were doing. They were like, okay, you know, they were basically taking the kind of look of, you know, movies like Blade Runner and even Logan's Run and stuff that were like these iconic visions of the dark future, you know, and the whole look of, you know, it's always raining outside, everyone's wearing black leather and everyone's riding around on motorcycles. And
I will say this about the second one. If someone wanted an example of pop culture at the time, I'd be like, watch this movie. It is just pop culture throwing up all over itself in 2000, whatever the year was. Wait, was the second one? No, the second one was in 99, wasn't it?
Yeah. That second one, yeah. Like, I think the first one was kind of digging up like things from past culture and repopularizing it. Second one was definitely just, you know, a puke.
Here's everything that's popular right now.
Yeah.
See, I think you're right. I think the Wachowski sisters just have bad taste.
Yeah. Oh, it's not me. Graham McMillan said it. I just agreed with him. But yeah, because I think that's the thing. Like the Matrix movies they're all competent enough to watch. They're well directed. I don't have any beef with that. I'm not like, well, you know, oh, that's really lit poorly, or that was a poor choice of. No, they're great movies. It's just they have bad taste. Like the fucking what's that? What's that East Coast meathead gunslinging movie that everybody loved around the same time?
Bad Boys?
No, where they blow up the church. Like a Boston-based show.
Boondock Saints?
Boondock Saints. Motherfuck Boondock Saints.
You know, it's funny.
It's a stupid-ass movie.
All of my meathead friends were like, oh, this is the best movie ever. And I don't think I've ever seen that. I think I fell asleep to that movie 9 times. I don't think I've ever...
dumb as shit.
It didn't interest me.
It's not about anything. Like, it's literally just there is no plot. They're like, family. I mean, it's the original Fast and Furious. But I guess I just like cars more than I like, you know, guns.
Whooping ass, yeah.
And bigotry. Well, I guess we should wrap this up, huh?
Yes. Good to be back. The virus tried to take me out. Not really. But it did put me on the couch for a few days. But, thanks for coming back with us in 2022. Follow us on Twitter, on social media, at the Weisman420 and at the Weisman Podcast, respectively. Head on over to ChristopherMedia.net. Click on the Amazon banner and the PayPal button if you would like to help us out. Also, I always forget what the social media... Facebook, when we first started, Twitter seemed to be the way people found us. Now,
people are back on the Facebook, huh?
Well, just as far as just Facebook changed how it, like, you know, they changed their algorithms and shit and all that shit that we don't know about and how they do things. But they also added, like with Pages, now you can actually say you're a podcast and you can hook your RSS feed to the page, so whenever a show publishes, like, Facebook publishes it automatically. You know, I don't have to make a post for it. So, like, so like us on Facebook as well, and wherever you listen to us, you can also rate us on Facebook too. So wherever you listen to us, rate us 5 stars. Rate us 1 star. Just rate us. So let people know that you're there and you're listening to us. What you think of the show? Yeah, we know we're not perfect. Maybe we get some 3 stars or some notes. Doesn't matter. Just leave a rating, a review. Please and thank you. It helps other people find the show. And other than that, you can stay high.
Stay high.
$15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Wait a minute. I've heard that before.
That's the note Jeremy wrote to me in my yearbook in the 6th grade. How'd you even know that?
Because it's from Geico.
Yeah, wait, here it is. Dear Luke, have a great summer. P.S. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. Love, Jeremy.
Geico's had this tagline for years, 'cause we help save people money.
So wait, you're saying Jeremy copied you? Yeah, that actually does sound like something the J-Man would do.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
The Holiday Train Show is back at the New York Botanical Garden, featuring model trains zipping past famous New York landmarks. Make your holiday even more festive with NYBG Glow, an outdoor wonderland with thousands of dazzling lights. Tickets at nybg.org.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.